Louisville, Kentucky is the #1 city to buy a home in the fourth quarter. Now, I noticed that you haven't subscribed to our channel. We've got great content coming at you all the time, so make sure that you hit that subscribe button. A funny thing happened. We had this conversation yesterday, how great of an opportunity you have to buy or to sell in the fourth quarter of the year. And then about an hour later, Realtor.com issued an article and said, Louisville, Kentucky is the #1 city to buy a home in the fourth quarter. And so we're gonna talk a little bit about their data, and we're gonna talk a little bit about why that is. We will link that article in the description below. The reason that someone might choose to buy a home and be extra successful in the fourth quarter of the year has to do with competition. The rest of the world, the rest of the country is otherwise occupied with holidays, festivals, with other things going on. It's maybe not the most logical time to move if you've got children in school. And so for all of these reasons, the buyer pool tends to shrink. In fact, in this article from Realtor.com, they say that there are about 33% fewer eyes on properties in Louisville in the fourth quarter. Your competition as a buyer is just less. There are fewer people out there competing for the same homes that are on the market. When there's less competition, when there's less demand, this is basic economics, right? The lower the demand, the lower the price. So when there is less demand for homes, the prices tend to start to come down. A home that is listed might stay on the market a few days longer, and when the property's on the market a few days longer, the seller might decide to lower their price, or at the very least, accept a price that is lower than their asking price. And so therefore, with less competition, with less demand, you can end up paying less for a home in the fourth quarter versus that very same home listed in the second quarter, as an example. So don't let that opportunity pass you by. If you're thinking about moving and you're thinking, maybe it's best if I wait till spring because I'll have more choices. Maybe that's true, but you might be able to find the perfect home and pay less money for it in quarter four because you aren't up against the competition that you will be in the spring. Because there are fewer buyers, there's that a little bit lesser demand. We also start to see more choices in the inventory on the market. We actually see during the fourth quarter that Louisville gets an uptick of about 20% more inventory than we would see in other weeks throughout the year. So you as a buyer also tend to have a little bit more choice in quarter four just because there are more homes available on the market because there are fewer buyers that are out there buying. What that can mean is when these homes stay on the market for a few days longer, you might be able to get a better discount. Now, what we're not seeing here is we're not seeing homes sticking around on the market for months at a time. It's just that, in our spring and summer market, things can be sold the day that they're listed or the next day. And in this fourth quarter market, we might see homes that last a few days on the market. And that gives you a better opportunity to get in, maybe see the home more than once. Imagine that, getting to spend more than 15 minutes making this major life decision. And so you could see the home, maybe you could go back and see the home with family members a couple of days later and really be able to make a slower decision, a better deal. So as a buyer, Q4 is the best time to buy. If you're a seller who needs to sell in Q4, this isn't bad news for you either. If you're a seller needing to sell in Q4, the good news for you is that there are absolutely buyers. Buyers need to move at all times of the year. Things happen. We talk about the 5 Ds in real estate, diapers and diamonds and diplomas and divorce. And for all these reasons, people still need to move, right? There are hundreds of reasons why someone might need to move in quarter four. And so there are absolutely opportunities to sell in quarter four. And for you as a seller, you aren't going to face the massive competition with other homes on the market that we would see in the spring. We see far more listings coming on the market in the spring. We also see a lot more buyers, but your competition is great. So if you are the best house in the neighborhood, you have an opportunity to shine in quarter four versus a spring quarter where you might be the best house in the neighborhood and the second best house in the neighborhood and the third best house in the neighborhood all listed at the same time, and people have a lot more choices to make. So for a seller, quarter four is an excellent time to sell as well because you do have a chance to be the shiny penny, to be the home that the buyers who are definitely still out there looking, that they have an opportunity to actually get to your home, whereas they might not have had that opportunity in the spring being distracted by other homes on the market. Again, We are not talking about, when we talk about length of time on market, we see in Q4 that properties do stay on the market longer, but we're not talking about months and months on the market here. We're talking about, instead of it being 3 or 4 days, maybe it's 14 days on the market or something like that. Things are moving a little bit slower in Q4, and yet for you two as a seller, that's a great thing too, because we want our buyers to be confident in their purchase, right? We don't want to find the buyer who did just have to make a decision in a 15-minute showing. They get the house under contract and suddenly they have cold feet, right? That buyer is going, did I make the right decision? I don't know. This other house came on the market and I kind of like it too. When they have an opportunity to see your house for an hour or to see your house twice before they get it under contract, that means that the buyer that you get in Q4 is such a stronger buyer. They've fallen in love with your house and they know that this is what they want to move forward with because they haven't had to make a split decision because it was this or nothing. I think there are win-wins on both sides here for Q4 buyers and for Q4 sellers. And again, we were immediately backed up with this idea by this article from Realtor.com. This article states that the best time to buy in Louisville is early November, that the median list price is about $316,000. So we're an affordable city. Again, they were looking at probably the largest metropolitan areas in the country. So compared to a lot of metropolitan areas, Louisville remains quite affordable. And so we have this affordability, we have a little more inventory, we have lesser buyers in the market. And so that's why Q4 makes a lot of sense as a great place to buy a home in Louisville, Kentucky. So make sure you click on that article and read it to its fullest and understand why Louisville is such a great place to be. And then when you have questions or when you decide that it's the right time to buy or sell in Louisville, Kentucky or in Southern Indiana, make sure that you reach out to us at symphonyrealtygroup@gmail.com. We would be happy to help you find your perfect key.